Good evening. This is a Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, the regular meeting of the Cabell County Board of Education. Good evening, Mrs. Neely.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you're fine. You're fine. All right, would you please rise for the pledge to the allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance, pardon me. Mrs. Myers, would you lead us, please? Thank you, ma'am.
Lead flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. All right, we will start tonight with the best part of the evening. Special celebrations, Mr. Flowers.
Good evening, Madam Board President, Vice President, and of course, all of our board members. Deputy Superintendent Tim Harnesty and Counselor Myers, very happy to have all of you here, as well as all of our guests tonight to celebrate some outstanding students tonight. And we're going to kick it off tonight. You know, our slogan for the school district is create your story. And this student has created a story that is pretty unbelievable. Olivia Charles is a senior at Cabell Midland High School and recently became the national all-time high school female football kicker scorer in the country, the number one. She broke the previous record of 177 with 180 points. Olivia began kicking her freshman year and became the starter the following year. Her accuracy caught the eyes of the coaches from day one. Olivia thanks her coaches and all of her teammates. She wouldn't be kicking if the coaches didn't give her a chance and wouldn't have all the points if the team didn't score all their points, she told us. And we've got a couple of pictures just to show you of Olivia in action. This is her on the football field. This is, of course, cheering on the Knights at our pep rally that we had on the Friday. And this is her whole team, everybody all together. And she's there in the center. And so we really, really want to honor Olivia. Please come up, Olivia. And she's going to tell you a little bit about this honor and what it means.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Olivia Charles, like he just said. When I first got word that I was up for this, I honestly didn't believe them. I was like, something's wrong. He must mean the state. He doesn't mean the whole country. Because there are a lot of girls that play football nowadays, and not just kickers either, which blew my mind too. But when I found out that I was even up for it, I didn't believe it. And then once I broke it, I was just in disbelief. I came off the field, I was yelling, jumping. All my friends were so happy, and my family too. And I just think that the ultimate goal here is to really, first of all, the stereotype of that a girl couldn't do it, or that really people from this area couldn't really do something big like that. I want to be the person that some little girl sees, oh, well, she's doing it, so then I can do it. Or maybe the people around here see, oh, well, there's a girl kicker now on the team, but there was one before, so that seems a little bit more normal. And just kind of break that barrier that we can't accomplish the normal stereotypes, because that's obviously not a normal stereotype that a girl would have a national record in football, or that she would be from Huntington, West Virginia. So I'm really grateful because I honestly couldn't have done it without all the support. My family has been really good at supporting me, because a lot of people probably wouldn't let their daughters play football. And my coaches, I'm so thankful for, because they gave me the opportunity, and they've really put up with a lot. Because Coach Sammons is a four-kid boy dad, so this is really a curveball for him. And my teammates, which, I mean, they were honestly not too sure about it in the beginning, but now I'm a senior. It's basically like having 100 brothers. So I'm really happy that I could not only change some of their perspectives, but perspectives of the community, and the multiple girls who have come up to me who are young, old, my age, and just they think that they can do it too. Like my friend plays for Riverside football now. She's a girl. She's on my soccer travel team, and she told me, she was like, I didn't even think that girls could do that until you did it. And just that, or there's a kid on my team, and his little niece, she's 4 years old, and she told me, she said, I want to play football. And 90-year-old grandma from the team came up and told me that she never thought she'd see the day. And just that kind of stuff really just makes me glad that I kept at it and kept going to get to where I am, because with this national record, it's getting some publicity, so I hope it gets out there and these girls think that they can do it too, and people from this area know that they can dream big and reach big, because I think we need as much as that as we can get. So I thank you guys for having me today, and I just thank my family, my teammates, my coaches, and obviously I thank God over anybody else for all these opportunities. So thank you all.
Well, thank you.
We certainly want to thank you for being here tonight. I can't tell you how proud we are of you. I can't tell
Yes,
you.
we are so proud, and you are setting such a good example for the younger girls to come up and to see what you have done. And now they know that they can also do that it's not just for the boys, and you have really set the bar up high. So we are so proud of you. And such a beautiful young lady you are.
Yes.
Olivia, I would just like to say, I know you stood up here and you talked about your team, and rightfully so. Football is certainly a team sport, but there is a lot of talent that goes into being able to score points as a kicker like you have.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Great job.
And Olivia, if you'll stick around for just a minute after the celebrations, we'll take a photo with the Board of Education, if that's okay. Are you able to? Oh, she has to go to football practice. Board members, would you like to accommodate her into her photo? Thank you. Yes, we definitely don't want her to fall off on practice, that's for sure. All right. Next, we've got a very special guest with us tonight. Mr. Kenneth Tyree is here, and he is the State Fire Marshal for the state of West Virginia. And he's joined us tonight to help us honor the 5th Annual State Fire Marshal Fire Safety Poster Contest winners. And this statewide contest, was recently, the winners were recently selected. There were 12 total winners, including 4 from Cabell County Schools. And that included a pool of 94 students total in the whole state that entered, representing 17 counties. This year's contest recognizes students who demonstrate an understanding of the issues related to fire safety and who visually portray that knowledge on their posters and artwork. This year marked the 100th anniversary of the National Fire Protection Association's Fire Prevention Week. The theme this year was Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, which recognizes the need for planning and practicing your fire escape plan. Many of our elementary schools participated in the City of Huntington's Fire Prevention Parade, got to see that. The winning students, and we'd like to have you students come forward, please. Marlo Sullivan from Culloden Elementary School, 1st grade. Will you please come forward, Marlo?
She is.
Okay. Now, the next person, Jace Midkiff, he called today, and he was sick, and so he wasn't able to come tonight, but he was very disappointed. From Nichols Elementary School in the 2nd grade. Let's give him a round of applause. Parker Coyle from Culloden Elementary School, the 3rd grade. Will you please come forward, Parker? And Mason Burdick from Milton Elementary School, 4th grade. Will you please come forward, Mason? And now, Mr. Tyree has a presentation for you and the students.
I wanna see.
Oh, they're so
Oh my
good.
goodness.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and good to be here with you. Thank you so much for this support and always participating in this very vital and important program. The reason we started this program 7 years ago was that in West Virginia, we have on average 50 persons die in fire throughout the state. We tried to figure out a way to get into people's homes because that's where most fires occur, are in people's homes. And graciously, Cabell County, along with several other counties this year, and over the years, Cabell County's always been supportive, so I'm grateful for that, has always supported. So 17 counties represented this year. We had 94 posters come into our office, but we estimate about 600 students participated throughout the state with the 17 counties. And so before you have 3 of the 4 from Cabell County that are here. I know Jace is not here, Parker Cole, Marlo Sullivan, and Mason Burdick. I have to look at them because I'm hard with names sometimes, but I got these down today. So, but I have they've been awarded a plaque. They're wearing their medallions. And I have one other thing, and I'll share it with them, and I've brought enough to share with the board also. So it's part of the theme this year of Fire Won't Wait, Plan the Escape, and then our 110th anniversary book of our agency. So I thought I'd share that with them and you.
Cool.
I'll give the rest to their parents, but thank you for having us. Thank you for your support. Tell Superintendent Sass we miss him, but thank you all for your
Well, thank you,
support
sir.
and continued support.
This is a project of extreme importance, and we intend to participate forever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As long as we're all here.
Thank you.
Hold the pictures up
I
so
know.
we
What
can
a
see
group of talented
them.
students.
Hold the
know.
picture.
Oh, my
that-
God.
Put a
wanna-
message in a poster.
I
Isn't
want to
that
get
great?
a closer look. Am I allowed to get up? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
look.
not-
They are so pretty.
Would you just? Yeah,
Yeah, bring up here, they're so
let's
pretty.
put them up here. We want to see.
They want to see your
We want to
artwork. Do
see
you mind
the
to go on up?
details.
Okay. And we'll do a photo, Mr. Fire Marshal,
And she
here
is a doll.
in just a second. I don't want you to run away because we're going to do a photo. We want you to be in the photo. Just in a second. Just one. Latest one. Do you want to go ahead and do the picture? Okay. Mr. Tyree, I think they're going to go ahead.
We're gonna do it now, we'll take our picture.
I'm just the director, children.
Our next presentation, Ms. Giles is actually going to lead for our Apple Distinguished School.
Well, this is a big deal.
Okay, are you better? I'm getting better. I had the flu. I wasn't sick. I forgot yesterday.
Good evening, board members, not Superintendent Sachs. Today, I get the honor and privilege of introducing our very first Apple Distinguished School, which I like to say is one of my schools because they're elementary, so that's what makes me so excited. Altizer Elementary has been named an Apple Distinguished School for the 22 to 2025. Altizer is being recognized for its innovative use of technology as a tool to empower students to take ownership over their own learning and create positive culture and creativity for all students and staff. Altizer utilizes Apple technology to create opportunities for choice and differentiation, and 100% of the school's teachers are certified Apple teachers. The school also has an established tech team supporting student portfolios, which are collections of student work and data. The selection of Altizer Elementary School as an Apple Distinguished School highlights Altizer's success as an innovator and a compelling learning environment that engages students and provides tangible evidence of academic achievement. So I just want to congratulate Mrs. Smith and her staff at Altizer Elementary and how super proud we are. And does anyone like to come up here and speak? Miss Smith.
I see a flute player out there.
Hello. I'm really not sure what you want me to say, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And I like to talk, so if you want me to talk a little bit, I can tell you that a few years back, when I heard about Apple Distinguished, I thought that's exactly what I want to accomplish. I'm very competitive, so not only did I want to accomplish it, but I wanted to be the first in the county that accomplished that. So as Ms. Giles said, we're the first in the county. We're only 7 in the state. Two schools in the entire state got recognized this year. If you ask me why, I can tell you why it was so important to me. I feel like English and language or math, everything comes full circle, but the one thing that never comes full circle and comes back around is technology. And I feel like that's the one thing that I could provide my students with. That hopefully they can succeed in life and be above all the other students in the entire county, hopefully in their college and things like that. And I don't mean to get emotional, but I won't talk much more, but I love my students, I love my staff, and my staff did all of the work, and Patrick, which came in on his own free day off from Roanoke just to celebrate with us. They did it all, and I love them and appreciate everything they've done. So if they want to come up here, they can, or if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Mrs. Smith,
I don't know.
Ms. Smith, will we be able to hear from one of your students about what the impact they have at the school?
Absolutely, and I can tell you all the things that we did, and they can tell you some of the things that we did. It's not just an easy, no big deal, but it was a process that we had to complete. So they probably all would like to talk. I'm not sure which one. Who would like to come talk? Would you like to come talk?
Who's the talkers out there?
Maybe you want to come on? She can come with you, whoever. They want to hear from you all. Travis?
Protection.
You want to talk?
Yeah, there's safety in it.
Awesome.
You want to tell them what you do with the tech team? Number one, they designed our shirts. So
Very
tell them what we
cool.
do with
Yeah,
the tech
I like
team.
the shirts.
When we begun, we all chose a shirt design, and then we voted for whose was best, and some people got upset, but we all do it together. So then we did a little Scotty dog out of 3D pin, and right now we're working on a project and we're gonna see who can build a bridge and how much weight it can
Oh.
handle.
Awesome.
And
Little civil engineering there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Very good.
cool.
Anybody else want to talk? Oh, he hasn't been here the last 2 Fridays. Normally not me, but Mr. Teeters and Miss Panel meet with the students every Friday, and they're supposed to, it's a leadership role. So not only do they do different activities on Fridays, but they're supposed to be leaders because students are typically smarter than us adults when it comes to technology. So not only do they help other students, but they help other staff members in the building as well.
Excellent.
If they need help with any type of technology. And we have a project lab, and you all have done many different things with the project lab. Do you want to tell anything, or are you good, or just want to come up here? You just want to come up here? You can say something, okay.
The second thing, well, probably the first thing we did, not the shirt thing, but the first thing we did was we took a bunch of clips, organized them, and made edits of like a video, and then showed it to everybody, and learned how to use a bunch of apps that we use for the video editing.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Well, if you all don't mind, we'd like to get a photo.
We would. We'd
Oh,
like to have the
please.
supporting staff come up too.
Yeah.
Stop driving all of this.
But Mr. Hardesty, could I say something before? I just really, or Miss Smalley, I just really want to thank Carrie Smith for her commitment to this project when it is by no small task. And she was able to build this team actually very quickly during a very hard, difficult time for schools. But to watch that school grow, and if you walk in that school and see them using the technology, it really kind of blows your mind. They have everything is technology driven. Their data notebooks was nothing like we had seen before. And I want to thank them for committed to this project, and it's through her leadership that has brought them this far. And also I want to thank Patrick in the fact that his dedication to really push them and to grow them, but this has been a staff that has come together to grow exponentially very quickly for the benefit of their students. And this is one of the greatest achievements I think that Cabell County Schools can have, is to be called an Apple Distinguished School. And I'm just so honored and proud of each and every one of you that I wanted to personally thank you for your commitment to Altizer Elementary.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry too.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I can say something that'll embarrass Patrick. When he decided to leave, he broke up with me and broke my heart because
Mine too.
we worked so well together. And the joke is, he'd look at me and he knew exactly what I was thinking, and we kind of could read each other. So he was absolutely wonderful. He worked with my staff, and it was always easy and flawless. It was no big deal if they needed help. So he definitely is a critical part, as well as everyone. But
Mrs.
I love
Smith.
Patrick, and if you all could give him some.
Mrs.
y'all-
Smith, you're correct. He has
I've
had
offered.
a huge, Patrick, you've had a huge impact on Cabell County Schools. I thank you for that, and thank you so much for coming back today. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
So wonderful.
Now, of course, he's an enigma, so he's not allowed to appear in photos. So we'll ask everyone else to come forward. We'll get his back.
One unofficial one.
He could do one picture.
One unofficial.
One-
Like, I have
oh,
to-
okay,
I
one
have
of
to do
them.
it myself.
Yes.
So he did promise me one, but we can't publish it.
Okay. Well, we'll ask everybody to come forward, teachers and students. Absolutely.
This position is a wheelchair position, and that position is
Miss Giles join in too?
department.
Oh, she is.
And on the weekend I'm tired, so
Very good.
still I can do it for a few minutes.
Here's the one without.
All right, everybody smile. Perfect. All right.
Yeah, they didn't have one until we had CDs. That's what I listened to. So, yeah. I'll be looking. I'll be thinking. We'll figure something out.
Keep saying no.
Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll have something. Do you know Robin? Lisa, do you know Robin Welch? I couldn't remember if she was back in Europe.
I don't remember. Robin Welch.
She went to University of Louisville, got a degree in music.
What she
and
play?
She's teaching. Yes, I'm talking about you.
We're talking about you. What?
And I went down
What
to
do you
see
play?
her
Yeah.
in Louisville. Yeah. No, it's Louisville in Louisville. Sorry about that.
Louisville.
Yeah. She's certified special ed too.
Is she?
Yeah.
Nice.
Great musician. Bye, dear.
Bye.
Okay, folks, where are we here? 2.02. All right, ready to move on? Next, an update in instruction and leadership services. Mrs. Watts.
Well, ditto, but how do you really follow all that today?
Hard, isn't it?
It's very hard. So that's the reason why I'm turning it over to Mr. Thomas. So he is going to update you on our foster program and our homeless.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Mr. Thomas.
Hey, good evening.
Hi.
Ms. President Smalley, board members, Deputy Superintendent Hardesty, Council Myers. Good to see everyone this evening. It is a hard act to follow, but I'll try to do my best, okay? I do want to update you on, where's my clicker? On some of the things that we're doing from student support and what the schools are doing with foster care and our homeless students. I want to share some information on some of the agencies we are working with, the numbers, what they look like, and then we'll have some questions towards the end. And there's a lot of information in these slides, and I won't read the slides to you, but I will touch on some important topics from each. Just real quick, what is foster care? Foster care is nothing more than just a large service to help kids find permanent placement for those who can't live with their families for unforeseen circumstances. That's the easy definition of it. There's a lot of agencies that we work with in West Virginia as well as Cabell County. And we work very closely with all of these, especially the Children's Home Society. They've really stepped up lately, so if you know anyone from the Children's Home Society, definitely commend them because they have been a great asset to Cabell County schools as well as our kids. What is the purpose of foster care? The ultimate goal of foster care is to put these kids back with their families if that's the best case for these kids. If not, they won't, but that is the ultimate goal. Foster care, these agencies, they work with more than just the kids. They also work with the families to try to rehabilitate them so that kids can come back into the homes. How do children enter foster care? There's multiple avenues that our kids, any kid can enter foster care. There's a lot of bullet points there, and I won't read them, but The main points is some of those are voluntary. I've been at the courthouse, and I'm sure some of you have as well, to where parents have been in line, just waiting to turn their kids over to foster care. I'm sure Ms. Hornbuckle can attest to that as well, for multiple reasons. And you'll see that on another slide here coming up on why, on the breakdown of kids in foster care. But some of those are voluntary, and some of those are ordered by our law enforcement, by our judicial system as well. Here you'll see the placement types on the next slide. The next slide following I'm going to touch on more because it actually breaks down how many kids are in each placement type, and I'll go slow here so you can look at that. And for obvious reason, we have 342 foster care kids in Cabell County. Not all of those are school-age students. Some of those are younger than that. But if you look as far as which one is the most, and that's the therapeutic foster care. And I'm sure you'll see why. The therapeutic foster care are kids who are struggling with mental health, behavior, discipline, and emotional well-being. That's the majority of our foster care kids are placed for that reason. Then next, you can look through that list, and if you have questions, we'll look at that later. That was as of Wednesday of last week, and that does tend to grow. That number is growing. Fostering at school, we have a lot of support systems in place for our foster care kids. Our main goal is to not miss any kids' needs who are in foster care. That's our social workers, our counselors, our teachers, our principals, all of our staff in Cabell County have been trained on foster care and homeless as well. But there are processes and procedures in place to make sure that we don't miss any of these kids. Any questions on foster care before I move into homeless? All right, reasons for homelessness. If you look at that list, there's a wide range there. Addiction is tied to many of those reasons on that list. Addiction's also a big reason for our grandparents raising kids as well. It's tied into foster care and for being homeless, but we do have kids in every one of those categories on reasons for homelessness. The McKinney-Vento Act, that's a federal law that supports our homeless students financially. They've been very kind to us, the federal government, in providing us funds to support our homeless kids and foster care kids. But that is an act and law that has been passed. We do a lot with the grants that we receive for our foster care and homeless kids, and I'll share some of those in a minute. What does homeless mean? I'm only going to read the first bullet point because that sums up what it means to be homeless, and it also differentiates the difference between homelessness and foster care. But it's nothing more than individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. It's pretty simple, but it does help us understand what a true homeless student is, and we do have quite a few of those. The next few bullet points on that list are examples of what homeless students are. The third bullet point, children and youth who have primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed for an ordinary use. We actually have kids, and I just want to explain that one because that can be confusing. We actually have had kids who live in parks. And that's what that means. Some of the kids we have been known to live in parks. We actually had one kid who slept on the football bleachers one night. But lucky for us, we have caring staff who will take these kids in. I mean, our own staff have taken some of these kids in, teachers and from these schools. And you may know the stories as well. Unaccompanied homeless youth is another term that's floated around out there. Those are our couch surfers. Those are kids who move from home to home, who live with, we see it a lot in our high schools, who are living with other families for multiple reasons, and we could talk about that later, but those are our kids that we call couch surfers who just move from home to home because they do not have a permanent place to live. These are our numbers from last year, towards the end of last year. We do not have up-to-date numbers yet because we're still early in the school year, but towards the end of last year, we had a total of 421 homeless students in our county. 6 were in our campgrounds and parks, 24 in a motel. And I will share this. A lot of our foster care kids now, just going back to foster care, they're actually running out of placements for them. So they're putting our foster care kids in hotels with youth service workers. We have 3 or 4 that I know of right now, kids in our county, who are living in a motel in Barbersville with their youth service workers. They're just running out of space. That's what I said, that the numbers are growing as we speak. But our homeless numbers are growing as well. School enrollment, we are mandated to enroll kids, no matter what, whether they have paperwork or not, if they fall under the McKinney-Vento Act. And we do that. Our office staff is well-trained, and they know to, no matter what, if they don't have shot records, if they don't have the enrollment paperwork, birth certificates, we enroll them. We work with UMOM closely on that as well. But some of the services in our area, or some of the services that we provide under the McKinney-Vento Act. At the city mission, we just hired 2 tutors to work there weekly, up to 2 hours a day. We have about 16 kids as of yesterday down to city mission. They go, we provide them iPads or MacBooks, earpods, and these 2 tutors go down and provide tutoring services for these kids. We provide mental health services. The city mission knows if our kids need help, we partner with Prestera to send mental health services down there, and that's happened on a couple occasions. But those kids do get the services that they need, and we continue to provide that. We also have a homeless liaison. One of our social workers is dedicated just to helping homeless kids. And that goes far beyond just kids at the mission. We have kids whose homes burned down. She'll call them that night to make sure that they get the services, clothes, whatever it is that they need. Those are some of the organizations in our area that we work with. Again, Children's Home Society is not on that list, but they've really stepped up lately. All those services have been very good to Cabell County Schools. 99% of the time, if we call and ask for something, they help us. So any questions on our homeless or foster care services or help in Cabell County? And again, our primary goal is to make sure we don't miss any of these kids' needs. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I believe it's going to be. Next, we're 2.03, an update, operations and support. Mr. Hardesty.
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a few things I want to share and try to clarify. I know we do the board update on a weekly basis. If you remember last week, I shared that we have taken delivery of 10 new buses, and I broke that down. 5 of the buses are transit vehicles and 4 conventional buses. That is actually the order that we placed last year. So we hear a lot about supply chain issues and those type things. That was last year's order, so you can think of that as running a year behind. We finally have that. We anticipate, because of the DERA grant, which is the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act grant that we received, last year was year 1 of that. We are expecting on the next board agenda to hopefully be able to present to you all the purchase of some additional buses, knowing that it will be a while before we receive them. So that is coming, but I wanted to clarify that those 10 that we just received shipment of, those are actually not a new expenditure. That was something that we ordered last year. We also wrapped up our 6-week pilot of the Green Power Motors electric bus. We used that bus over 2 different routes over the 6 weeks that we had that. Last week we had a debriefing with Green Power representatives. Of course, our drivers were there, Tom Henry and Tony Roberts, very veteran drivers that gave a lot of insight on some of the things that they experienced throughout their time on the bus. And Charlie Justice is our chief mechanic. He sat in that debrief as well, and certainly helped those in charge of Green Power as they're moving forward with their pilot. I do want to say that if you remember over the last few weeks, we've talked about how we applied for one of those grants that they had out. We had asked for 11 buses in that pilot. We did not receive that grant. There were only 10 buses for the entire state of West Virginia, and we were not selected. So I wanted to update the board on that. A couple other things happening in the department are Facing Hunger Food Bank. They are donating boxes, food boxes for us to distribute during that week of Thanksgiving. And so what our food service department has planned is we're gonna pick those up on Friday, the 18th, and then distribute those on that Monday on November 21st. And those will be distributed here at the central office and at Milton Pre-K. And additionally, we're really targeting that time off in December when schools are closed to make sure that we can partner with them again to get those food boxes in the hands of our students. Our high school soccer fields, I know that's something we have all discussed. That has been out. This is the second week of that bid. Our pre-bid is this week. It is scheduled on Friday, and we'll be at Cabell Midland first. Following Cabell Midland, we'll go to Huntington High School to their soccer field and make sure those that are interested in bidding on those jobs measure the field, know exactly what we want. We give them those specs of what we're looking for. Sort of on the same realm as that is the infield turf for the baseball and softball fields. We have that out for bid. It hit the paper today for Cabell Midland softball and baseball fields. That will be out for bid this week and next week, followed by pre-bid. However, Huntington High School did not want to bid their fields. They have worked in conjunction with the Moats Group. They really impressed with the quality that they do, the quality of work that they give. And they feel like they have the funds necessary to go ahead and go forward for the baseball team. And the baseball team decided that they wanted to help the girls softball to make sure that they were able to move forward too. And so Huntington High School we're actually in the process of completing that contract with the Moats Group for Huntington High School so they can go ahead and get started on that. Yes?
May I, Mrs. Smalley,
Yes, ma'am.
ask a question about that? I need clarity. I thought we had to put it out for bid. Is that not the case?
That
Since-
is not the case. There
Okay.
are certain items that the state of West Virginia bids out on an annual basis to
Okay.
get a state contract, if you will. In addition, Mountain State ESC also puts bids out for entities that are part of that cooperative
Okay.
that can use those bids. So they've already been through,
So
the
they-
Moats Group has already been through that bidding
Okay.
process.
Okay.
And because of that, they have a fixed price that they can give anyone that's part of that cooperative. And so that bidding process has already been done for that expenditure. Now, Cabell Midland feels like that we might be able to get a better price because of what they're wanting to do. And so we're certainly honoring that, and that's actually in the newspaper today.
Okay. Well, good for Huntington High.
It was
Yeah,
really
that's-
nice to hear that
That's
they
great.
they want to step up, they want to make sure they're both done,
Yeah,
so.
that's wonderful.
Great.
We have another bid opening coming up. Our bid opening is Thursday for Davis Creek Elementary. We are excited to see
Goodness.
where that comes back. It will be this Thursday afternoon. I believe it's 1 o'clock in the boardroom here. We had, I think, 10 general contractors at the pre-bid meeting. In addition, we had quite a few subcontractors. There was a large crowd at the pre-bid that was on site. A lot of questions asked. But we think we have mitigated some of the concerns from the previous bid. And so we're anxiously anticipating and we're cautiously optimistic that we will get a good bid that we can present. So the final thing I want to touch on as far as an update is in your notebook, what I've been discussing is there, but there's a page 3. And that page 3 includes the ESG ESSER projects. And the reason we call them ESSER, if you remember, we had a Phase 1A and a Phase 1B of that contract. Phase 1A is already in the process. We're going to be going out Friday to those schools that have lighting that's getting ready to be installed to meet with those administrators to give them an idea of the scope of work that's getting ready to start. That lighting's actually on site already. But the ESSER project, this ARP ESSER funds, this federal dollars that we were going to utilize to replace the items that are listed, the HVAC system at Altizer, Cox Landing, the chiller here at the central office, and then exterior doors at Altizer and at Salt Rock. And so those have to go through the open bid process. And what you see there is that first column is the total project cost, the budget that we had that we presented back probably 6 weeks ago. We really felt like at the time it would come back at $8.8 million or $8,809,000. We received the bids back and we're going into contract with them to have all of that work completed for $6,069,000. And so that's a substantial difference. So it's about 2.6 or $2.8 million, which is certainly beneficial to the students of Cabell County.
Yes,
And
it is.
that's what we're able to use it for.
Excellent.
Just a couple more items of note in the agenda tonight. 4.02, which begins at the bottom of page 3, is the concrete work for the second phase of the outdoor classrooms. We had bid that out a while ago. We were really holding off on that to see where the ESSER projects come in from bid on the ESG. We were just really hesitant to go forward with everything before we knew. But that is that second phase of the outdoor classrooms. And I wanted to call your attention to that and see if anyone had any questions there. And then the other item of note on the agenda is 6.03, which is on page 11. That was an employee discipline hearing. I would like for us to pull that from the board agenda tonight.
Which one?
6.03 on page 11.
No date has been set for,
At this time, no. When we're
Reschedule,
ready to
yes.
put that on an agenda, we will do so, but
Okay,
at this
thank you.
point, not.
all right, 6.03.
So we're gonna remove that tonight?
Yes, sir.
And that concludes the operations update.
All right, now, Acting Superintendent Hardesty, are you going to present communications to the superintendent?
I am going to try. This might be a little more challenging, but I'm gonna give it a shot. We're gonna see a lot of photographs as we go through this. If we could go ahead and advance the screen one. At the top, you will see that our Cabell County Technology Center students decided they wanted to have trunk or treat and participate with the entire community at their future home at the mall. And so they set up trunk or treat at the mall, had a fantastic turnout. And if you notice, it says it's the National Technical Honor Society officers who organized. It says the first annual. So we're anticipating that coming again next year as well. So, and they set the bar really high in their first year. Had a great turnout. At the bottom of that page, you will notice that it says Cabell Orchestra. That was actually a combination of Cabell Midland High School and Huntington High School. And they gave a fantastic, spooktacular performance. And if anyone that has not heard our orchestras play, you really need to go. They're wonderful. Our next page, our next slide talks about the Huntington High School that won the Shield and for this year. And if you remember a couple of meetings ago, we had a picture of Mr. Cunningham and Mr. McGuffin fighting over the Shield. Well, that is now residing at Huntington High School for the next year. And last week, we also had, it's been a very busy couple weeks. Last week, we had our first night on Fifth this year. And you'll notice that Dr. Ashley Stevens in the bottom is hanging a picture there. She really helped organize the entire event, as well as the Pro Star. They do such a fantastic job, and they helped with all of the hors d'oeuvres that was served. And it's just a great evening. I encourage everyone to come out to any of those you can. Really a good time. It gives our students that otherwise may not have an opportunity to showcase some of their talent to be in the limelight a little bit and get people to notice what they're doing. And I will tell you, if you look around our hallway, you can see a lot of talent, and it's certainly talent that I do not possess. So we had Shelley Moore Capito that came for a visit with the Girls Rise Up, and she brought along with her Dr. Taylor Atkins, Buffy Hammers, and Rawan Elham. I'm sure I'm going to say Hamdani, yes. But they were at Barbersville Middle School. and they spoke to the 8th grade girls there at Barbersville Middle School. Last week also saw, I think this was last Thursday, we had a West Virginia School Safety Conference, and Mountain State ESC hosted that. That was in Charleston. Mr. Cooper, Mr. Stewart, a few of our principals were there in attendance, as well as Dr. Sachs. And Dr. Sachs actually moderated a conference, a panel that afternoon. And it's nice to know that we have a safety department to make sure that our schools not only have the means to make sure that they're safe, but also are walking around checking and working with our schools daily to make sure that the safety measures we have in place are being utilized, yes. And last on the list, you will notice quite a few photographs, and you probably saw most of this on WSAZ if you were up early enough to catch it last Friday. But it was Fired Up Friday, and Cabell Midland High School, when they did theirs, had a comment from the station manager that he had never seen a turnout like that. Well, that challenged Huntington High School to try to one-up them.
Yeah, they did.
And they really put some effort in. A fantastic crowd of students there, and all on their best behavior, certainly celebrating the Highlanders. So
that's great.
we appreciate all of them and all the efforts of the staff there to have that happen. So, and Madam President, that concludes Dr. Sachs's update.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I watched both of those. Well, I've watched all of the Fired Up Friday because I get up at 5:30, and from the other schools and so forth. Our two high schools by far were the best,
Yeah.
and Huntington High just blew everybody out of the water, to be honest about it. Did the bonfire and all that. Mr. Cunningham had the fire marshal there and everything. Man, he covered all the bases.
Well, I don't want to really cause any undue burden on Huntington High School, but over the years, they have had a group of students there known as the Do Crew, and I know that we have a couple in the back that know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they embraced that last week, and so not only did they have a bonfire, they had Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And I was over there, I think, on Thursday, and I said, Mr. Cunningham, it's got to go great. High school students with Mountain Dew at 6 o'clock in the morning around a bonfire. What could go wrong?
Donuts and stuff. They had sugar.
But it turned
Donuts.
out great. The students were so well behaved, so excited.
Yeah.
You could see their energy even on television.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes, it was just wonderful. All right. Do we have any delegations to be heard?
Madam President,
Do we,
we do.
sir?
We have Butch Day.
Okay. Mr. Day, would you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Good
And
evening.
you have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, my name is Butch Day. I'm 25701 Hughes Branch Road. Basically, greetings to each and every one of you, Madam President, Board, Mr. Hardesty. I knew you as Mrs. Hornbuckle, but congratulations. I guess my credentials is that 2 years ago I ran for the Board of Education, and my heart's desire was to see that our students would once again return to the basics of really American citizenship. I mean, we all are Americans, and basically that, I got involved with the Board of Education through an organization called Mission Tri-State, which is a interdenominational prayer group. We prayed for many years with Mr. Smith and also with Dr. Sachs, who I see is, I think he has a child that's ill today or something. But and I want to extend my appreciation to each and every one of you. I think as a board and as the administration here in Cabell County, I think you can't do a finer job. I think your administrative excellence is commendable, and I know that's a major portion of your job. But the thing that concerns me most is the return of our children back to the foundational, I guess, the ancient boundaries of citizenship and things like American history, American government, those principles. I think America has been really for over a generation been undergoing an identity crisis. It seems that our children don't, sometimes, if you watch the news, you have to be aware of this, but everything from identity as to their sex, but also as who they are as American citizens. And I think those things are the things that you do administratively are most important, or very important, but I think what's most important is what our children are taught. I always think everyone seems to worry about how much money is spent on each student, but I think what they're taught is much more important than that. Like I say, I think the moorings of our children to who they are and what they are and whose they are as American citizens have been severed, and those things are really important. So I'm here basically to exhort you and to encourage you to get back to the basics, to focus on what they're being taught, on the principles of American government and American history, and the importance of those things in the curriculum, I don't think can be overstated. So if you would lend your attention to that as much as your excellence in your administrative duties as a board. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Day. All right, board members, section 3, if we have any individual member comments or workshop requests. Okay, hearing none, we'll just move on. Section 4, our consent agenda. Do we have any items for discussion or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion, we accept section 4 of the agenda as
All right.
recommended.
Thank you, Mrs. Neely. Motions?
Second.
Okay, second for Mr. Pauly. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Move on to, financial. Mr. Rodkin.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, board members.
Evening.
On tonight's agenda, my update's going to be pretty brief unless there's questions, but we've got the September Treasurer's Report, September vouchers payable, and we also have some supplements. There are quite a few grants on the supplement section in your packet. That is some grants we've received that we want to supplement into the budget. Some grants we've received since the start of school. I did want to let everybody know on the Treasurer's Report, we have moved almost all of our cash into a BTI account that's at the State Treasurer's Office, because that is currently providing the highest rate of return on interest. You all know interest rates are going up. Well, that also means interest rates are going up on our savings account, and so we've moved about as much as we possibly can into the highest yielding account to make sure that we're earning the most amount of money on our returns. That's all that I really have this evening, unless you all have questions for me.
Okay, we'll find out here. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you all.
As always, a very thorough, informative report, sir. Thank you for what you do. All right. Personnel, section 6. We've already been in. Oh, I'm sorry.
I make a motion that we accept.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
We
I'm
have to
sorry.
back up and vote on the previous section.
On
On the.
5,000 series?
That's financial series. We need to vote on the
Yeah,
financial.
I make a
series.
motion, we accept the 5,000 series.
Okay, Mrs. Baum moves.
Second.
Second, Mr. Caldwell, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Apologize for that. All right, on section 6. Mr. Hardesty's already informed us of the 6.03. hearing being postponed. Do you have any items there that you wish to discuss, questions? Anything at all? All right, I'll ask for a motion. Ms. Bond, do you have something?
Well, do I need to make that motion with the pool of 6.03? Does that need to be stated? I make a
Yes,
motion that we.
it does need to be stated, yeah.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the 6,000 series with the exclusion of 6.03.
All right, Mrs. Bond has made the motion.
Second.
All right, second for Mr. Caldwell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on. Special board items, do we have any? I'm not aware of any.
Me either.
All right. Section 8, update on current legal issues. We have none tonight? All right, so we have no need to go into executive session. All right, any closing comments, concerns before I ask to adjourn? All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Caldwell and Mrs. Neely. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, we are adjourned.